The galaxy was a vast, dark ocean of stars, and for centuries the Terran Empire had ruled it with fear. Hundreds of alien species answered to its command. Planets fell without question. Rebellions were crushed and whispers of resistance vanished in smoke. No one dared challenge the Empire, for its fleets were massive, precise, and merciless. Yet at the very edge of their territory, the star system of Lyria III remained quiet. Its blue oceans sparkled, green continents stretched like jewels, and the wind carried the scent of untouched life. It was calm. But calm was dangerous, for storms were coming, and the Empire did not forgive weakness. High above Lyria III, in the orbiting command station, the alien fleet's sensors picked up something unusual. A single warship appeared in the void. At first, the officers thought it was a mistake, an echo in the sensor network. But the readings were undeniable. The ship was massive, but unlike anything the Empire had ever catalogued. Its hull glimmered as though made from the stars themselves. It moved with a strange elegance, almost alive, and its energy signature was powerful beyond belief. The alien officers leaned closer to the displays, jaws tightening, eyes wide with disbelief. That design. Impossible, hissed Commander Varkin, a veteran of 1,000 battles. Humans do not have the technology to build a ship like this. It can't be. Yet the evidence stared back at him. The ship's engines burned with hyper-quantum cores, faster and brighter than any known propulsion. Its weapons were unrecognizable, energy flowing in impossible patterns. And worst of all, it was heading straight for the heart of the Empire's outer defense fleet. On board that human warship, the SS Resolute, Captain Alara Trent walked calmly across the bridge. Her presence alone carried authority. She was young, barely in her 30s, but her eyes held the weight of centuries of survival. Humanity had endured famine, wars, slavery, and exile, but every challenge had made them stronger, sharper, faster. Ilara stopped before the main viewing screen and looked at the approaching alien fleet. Her heart beat steadily, though inside it roared with determination. Today we show them why humans are never to be underestimated, she whispered to herself. Around her, the crew prepared for the fight of their lives. Engineers tightened panels, soldiers checked weapons, and communications officers monitored the incoming fleet. Every hand moved with purpose. The alien fleet emerged from hyperspace, hundreds of ships dark against the starlight. They expected an easy victory. They believed a single human vessel could not possibly survive. Alara's voice broke the tense silence. Ready weapons. Target the lead cruiser. Steady, precise, and don't miss. Her words were calm, but they carried the authority of someone who had lived through impossible odds. A moment later, the human ship's main cannons fired. A brilliant streak of light tore through the void, hitting the lead cruiser. Explosions cascaded across its hull, tearing it apart in seconds. The alien officers froze, their mouths opening and closing without words. Barkin bellowed in rage. No, that can't be. Humans cannot do this. But it was real. The humans moved like shadows through the chaos, dodging blasts, striking with deadly precision, their courage unshakable. They were not just fighting to survive, they were reminding the galaxy that humanity was not a weak, unimportant species. They were a force of nature. On the bridge, Alara glanced at her crew. Each of them worked in perfect synchrony, hearts united. She felt a quiet pride. They had trained for this, dreamed for this, fought for this. Humanity's history had always been about endurance, and now it was about victory. The first wave of alien ships had fallen. But the Empire had many more. Varkin barked orders, desperation creeping into his voice. They would strike back. They would come in larger numbers. Yet the SS Resolute remained steady, calm, and resolute, just like its captain. Alara tightened her fist. Let them come. We are ready. Her words were a promise, a warning, and a challenge all at once. Humanity was here. Humanity would fight, and the galaxy would remember the day the Empire first trembled at the sight of a human battleship. The alien fleet roared in response, plasma lances igniting and rail cannons charging. Their numbers were overwhelming, and their confidence had returned, until they realized that one human ship moved like a ghost, weaving through fire and destruction without hesitation. On the bridge of the SS Resolute, Captain Alara Trent stood steady. Her eyes scanned the enemy fleet, calculating trajectories, predicting their moves. Every human on board felt the tension. yet also the unshakable determination that had carried their species through countless battles. "Focus on the lead cruisers," Alara commanded, her voice calm but iron-strong. "Disable their engines first. Fire on my mark. Precision, not haste. We can't afford mistakes." Lieutenant Rami Patel, young and talented, adjusted the targeting controls. His hands trembled slightly, but he steadied himself following Alara's command. "Coordinates locked, Captain." "Ready to fire," Alara nodded. Now. The human ship's weapons fired, light tearing through the darkness of space. The first cruiser exploded in a shower of fire and metal, and the shockwave rocked nearby vessels. Alien crews reeled in disbelief. The humans weren't just fast, they were deadly. Every shot was precise, every maneuver calculated. In the alien command station, Commander Varkin slammed his clawed fist against a console. "Impossible. How can one ship destroy our fleet like this?" His officers looked terrified, their usual arrogance replaced with fear. Humanity had always been underestimated. Now that mistake was their undoing. Back on the Resolute, engineers worked tirelessly. Sparks flew as panels were repaired under the constant barrage of enemy fire. Soldiers manned turrets, their faces pale but focused. There was no panic, only determination. Every human knew that their survival depended not on size or numbers, but on courage, teamwork, and will. Rami's voice broke the tense quiet. "Captain, the lead cruiser is destroyed. The rest of their formation is faltering." Alara's eyes softened for a brief moment as she looked out into the vast void. "Good work, Rami. Humanity has always faced impossible odds. Today is no different. Keep pushing." "Every strike counts." The alien fleet hesitated, confused. Their formations, once perfect, had dissolved into chaos. Ships collided, overcorrected, and fired blindly. The humans exploited every weakness. They struck swiftly, retreating only to return, always unpredictable, always deadly. Outside the bridge, the stars seemed to blur as ships moved at unimaginable speeds. Lasers streaked like lightning. Explosions blossomed like deadly flowers. And yet the SS Resolute remained untouched, like a phantom in the night. Alara felt a swell of pride and fear at the same time. Pride in her crew, who performed like a single living entity. Fear because even victory demanded sacrifice. She had seen humans endure loss and still fight on, and now she asked the same of her crew. Amidst the chaos, a small human ship from the auxiliary fleet approached, damaged and limping. Alara ordered, "Cover them. We are not leaving anyone behind." Humanity fights together. The Resolute surged, firing with unmatched precision, protecting its weaker ally. Alien ships fell like trees in a storm, unable to stop the relentless assault. The humans' bravery and coordination were more powerful than any weapon. For the first time, the Terran Empire realized that the humans they had hunted and dismissed were not prey. They were predators, clever, fearless, and unstoppable. Commander Varkin's pride shattered with each loss. The humans were not just ships and weapons, they were spirit. And spirit was something no machine could destroy. As the battle raged, the SS Resolute moved forward, each shot and maneuver echoing humanity's history of survival and defiance. Every human on board knew one thing clearly. They fought not for glory, but for the right to exist, for the right to be remembered, and for the right to challenge the galaxy's greatest power. The alien fleet was faltering. Humans were small in number, but their courage and intelligence were enormous. The Resolute had not only survived its first encounter, it had changed the course of the battle, proving that humanity, underestimated for centuries, could stand against an empire and make it tremble in fear. And in that moment, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter around the human ship, as if acknowledging the power of a species that refused to bow. The news of the human ship's triumph spread like wildfire across the outer systems of the Terran Empire. Alien worlds whispered in fear. Councils of warlords shook with disbelief, and the pride of the Empire cracked for the first time in centuries. One ship, just one human ship, had shattered their confidence, destroyed their formations, and left an entire fleet in ruin. In the Empire's capital, a grand chamber echoed with tension. The highest lords of the Terran Empire, adorned in robes of power and plated armor, debated furiously. Their voices clashed like thunder. How could one human ship face hundreds of their vessels and survive? How could it destroy their best war machines with such ease? Commander Varkin stood before them, a mixture of anger and fear twisting his expression. His claws tapped the polished floor, each strike sharp and demanding attention. "It is not technology alone," he warned. "It is humanity itself. They are unlike any species we have encountered. They fight with cunning, courage, and—" He paused, his voice catching in the presence of so many leaders. "With a spirit we cannot crush." The alien counselors exchanged worried glances. Plans were drawn similar, chins run, and strategies debated. Yet each proposal carried the same grim truth. Humans were unpredictable. They adapted faster than any AI, they learned quicker than any fleet, and their determination made them terrifying. Meanwhile, far from the capital, the SS Resolute pressed deeper into enemy territory. Captain Alara Trent navigated through asteroid fields and debris, moving stealthily between patrols, always vigilant. The humans intercepted enemy communications, listening to their panic-filled reports. Alien commanders whispered rumors of humans moving like shadows, of a species that struck with precision and never faltered. Lieutenant Rami Patel listened to the intercepted messages, his face pale with awe. "Captain, they're calling us ghosts. They don't understand how we fight." Ilara's lips curled into a small, confident smile. "Then let's continue being ghosts, Rami. Let's show them why humans never surrender, even when the odds are impossible." The ship moved like a predator, striking at supply lines, disabling communication satellites, and dismantling small squadrons before they could form. The Empire's officers struggled to maintain control. Panic spread faster than reinforcements could arrive. Ships collided, commands overlapped, and fear clouded judgment. Back on the bridge, Ilara's hands moved over the controls, precise and calm. She did not feel fear, only focus. Humanity's strength was not in numbers or firepower alone, but in courage, unity, and creativity. Each crew member on the Resolute knew their part. Every shot fired, every maneuver executed was a message. Humans would not bow. Rami glanced at Ilara, worry in his eyes. "Captain, they're sending hundreds of ships now. This could be more than we can handle." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Let them come. They have underestimated us once. They will not make the same mistake again." Humanity fights best when pushed to the edge. In the capital, the Emperor of the Terran Empire paced in his towering chamber. His eyes, cold and calculating for decades, now reflected fear. For the first time, he questioned the Empire's strength. Reports came in, fleets destroyed, squadrons scattered, and human ghost ships moving with deadly precision through every corner of the Empire. "This is extraordinary," he muttered. "A single human ship, and yet it could shatter centuries of dominance. What is this species hiding?" The answer, though he did not yet know it, was simple. Humans had survived the impossible for thousands of years. They had faced extinction, famine, war, and oppression. They had fought every day for survival, and that had forged a spirit no empire could break. Captain Ilara Trent prepared for the next strike. The humans were not afraid. The Empire had hundreds of ships, advanced weapons, and trained soldiers, but humans had something more powerful: courage, heart, and an unyielding will to survive. The galaxy began to realize a terrifying truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not insignificant, and humanity had arrived to claim its place among the stars. The Empire's response would come, but it would come too late. And in the quiet of the void, the SS Resolute glided forward, a single ship carrying the defiance of an entire species, ready to face whatever the Empire would throw at them next. The void of space trembled as the Empire sent its next wave. Hundreds of alien ships poured from hyperspace, forming an endless black wall against the stars. They moved with precision, their weapons primed and ready. Their confidence had returned, but it was brittle, built on assumptions, arrogance, and underestimation. On board the SS Resolute, Captain Ilara Trent stood firm on the bridge. The hum of the ship's engines vibrated beneath her feet, a reminder of the power contained within their single vessel. Her crew moved like a single organism, each aware of their part in the coming battle. Engineers ran along corridors, repairing minor damage from earlier skirmishes. Soldiers manned turrets, faces pale but unwavering. Humanity's greatest strength was not their numbers, it was their spirit, and that spirit burned brighter than any star. "Captain," Lieutenant Rami Patel said, scanning the incoming fleet, Their formation is massive, hundreds of vessels. They're faster and more coordinated than before. Ilara's eyes hardened. Then we adapt. We survive. And we strike. As the first salvo of plasma and energy tore across space, the Resolute moved like a ghost. Its hull shimmered, dodging blasts that could have destroyed lesser ships. Each movement was precise, calculated, and instinctive. The humans were not just fighting. They were dancing in the storm of destruction, turning the Empire's confidence into chaos. Explosions flared around them, lighting the darkness like deadly fireworks. One massive missile struck the outer hull, sending a wave of shuddering force through the ship. Alarms blared. Smoke hissed along the corridors. Yet no one panicked. The humans were trained for this. The humans were resilient. Divert auxiliary power to the thrusters, Ilara shouted, her voice cutting through the alarms. We are not dying today. Not on my watch. Rami's fingers flew over the controls and the Resolute shuddered but surged forward, narrowly evading another missile. Engineers worked under fire, welding plates and rerouting power as if their lives depended on it. Because they did. Humanity had faced extinction countless times, and they had always endured. The alien fleet, though massive, began to falter. Their formations, once disciplined, collapsed under the humans' unpredictability. The Empire's confidence cracked further as one ship after another fell to precise strikes. The humans did not rely on brute force alone. They used intelligence, cunning, and adaptability to overcome overwhelming odds. Ilara looked around the bridge, meeting the eyes of her crew. Each one was focused, fearless, and committed. We are humanity, she said quietly, though her words carried power. We endure, we fight, and we will not break. The battle raged for hours. Plasma fire lit the darkness. Laser beams streaked like lightning and explosions bloomed like deadly flowers across the void. Yet through it all, the SS Resolute advanced. Every maneuver, every strike, demonstrated not only technology but courage, the indomitable will of a species that refused to surrender. Even the Empire's greatest commanders began to whisper among themselves. How can they keep fighting? One asked, eyes wide. They are just one ship, yet it moves like an entire fleet. Ilara's calm voice guided her crew through the chaos. Keep moving. Keep striking. Every moment we survive, we teach them something they cannot forget. Humans are not prey. Humans are predators. As night fell across distant planets, the battle continued. The humans' ingenuity and bravery kept them alive, turning a hopeless fight into a display of unmatched courage. They adapted, they improvised, and they endured. The Empire's fleets, no matter how many, could not stop the heart of humanity. And in the dark void of space, the SS Resolute pressed forward, a single symbol of defiance against an empire that had once believed itself unstoppable. Humanity's spirit had shown once again that even against impossible odds they could rise. The battle was far from over, but the first cracks in the Empire's confidence had already appeared. The humans would not just survive, they would teach the galaxy to fear, respect, and remember their name. The battle raged on, but something was changing. The alien fleet had numbers, weapons, and experience, yet their movements became hesitant, almost fearful. Every human strike from the SS Resolute was precise, strategic, and devastating. One by one, the alien cruisers faltered, their commanders scrambling to regroup. Captain Ilara Trent stood on the bridge, eyes sharp as she studied the chaos of the battlefield. She could see patterns forming, weaknesses the enemy did not even notice. The Empire had relied on discipline and brute force, but humans relied on intelligence, adaptability, and courage, and that combination was unstoppable. Captain, Lieutenant Rami Patel said, pointing to the tactical display, their ships are breaking formation. They're panicking. This could be our chance. Ilara's lips curved into a small, determined smile. Yes, Rami. Humanity thrives when pushed to the edge. This is our moment. We turn their fear into their defeat. The Resolute surged forward, weaving through volleys of plasma and energy beams. Every maneuver was a calculated risk. Human weapons found weak points in the alien hulls, striking critical systems with deadly efficiency. Each destroyed cruiser sent ripples of chaos through the remaining fleet. Panic spread faster than reinforcements could arrive. On the alien side, Commander Varkin barked orders, but the confidence of the Empire had cracked. Their formations collapsed under the pressure of a single human ship. Ships collided, engines failed, and laser volleys missed their targets. What they had assumed to be a manageable threat had become a nightmare. Ilara watched it all calmly. Her crew moved with synchronicity born of trust and training. Engineers rerouted power instantly when systems were damaged. Soldiers maintained their stations with steady hands even under bombardment. The human crew worked as one, each understanding that failure was not an option. "Captain," Rami said, voice tense but excited, "the lead fleet is breaking apart. We could strike at the command ships now." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Prepare to engage. Focus all fire on their leaders. Show them that no empire can crush a human spirit." The Resolute moved like a phantom, slipping between volleys and targeting the heart of the enemy. Alien command ships erupted in fire and debris as humans struck with unstoppable precision. The fleet's morale shattered. Some commanders abandoned their positions. Others fled in terror, leaving hips to drift helplessly in the void. As the alien forces fractured, Ilara felt a surge of pride and resolve. Humanity had survived countless dangers on Earth, endured hardships that would have broken other species, and now they were proving that their spirit could topple an empire. Even in the chaos, she reminded herself to stay calm. "Victory isn't taken by strength alone," she told her crew quietly. "It's earned through courage, strategy, and heart. And today we earn it." The turning point had arrived. What had begun as a desperate fight for survival became a battle for dominance. The humans' adaptability, bravery, and unity had turned the tide. The empire that had once believed itself invincible now faced the terrifying truth. Humanity could not be crushed. Every destroyed ship, every fleeing commander, and every successful strike sent a clear message across the galaxy. Humans were not just a species, they were a force of nature. They adapted, endured, and struck when others faltered. Ilara looked at the stars stretching endlessly ahead. The void was dangerous, unforgiving, and silent, but it belonged to those who dared to act. Humanity had dared. Humanity had fought. And now humanity had the upper hand. She turned to her crew, eyes shining with emotion. "Today we've shown them what humans are capable of. But this is not the end. The Empire will send more. We will be ready. Humanity does not run. Humanity does not hide. Humanity fights. And we win." The SS Resolute glided through the battlefield, its hull scarred but unbroken, carrying not just a crew but the spirit of an entire species. The galaxy had begun to notice, and the Empire had begun to tremble. Humanity's legend was growing, and nothing could stop it now. The heart of the Terran Empire quivered with unease. Every report from the front lines painted the same terrifying picture. A single human ship, the SS Resolute, had shattered fleets, scattered squadrons, and left commanders questioning their own skill. The Empire had trained for centuries to dominate, but humans had shown a resilience, a cunning, and a courage that no one could predict. Captain Ilara Trent stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the endless void ahead. They had reached the enemy's capital system, the heart of the Empire's power, and every sensor buzzed with incoming fleets. Thousands of alien vessels awaited, confident in their strength, certain that humans were finally cornered. But confidence can be dangerous. Underestimating humans was fatal. Her crew felt the tension but did not falter. They had trained, survived, and adapted through unimaginable danger. Engineers ran through corridors, rerouting power and reinforcing the hull. Soldiers manned every turret with unwavering focus. Every human knew their role. And every human knew what was at stake: survival, honor, and the right to exist. "Captain," Lieutenant Rami Patel said, eyes wide as he monitored the enemy's movements. "They're ready. Thousands of ships, and they expect victory." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Then let them come. Humanity thrives in the face of impossible odds. Today, we will show them why we are never to be underestimated." The battle erupted like a storm. Alien warships unleashed torrents of plasma and fire, turning the void into a kaleidoscope of deadly energy. The SS Resolute weaved through destruction, dodging attacks that could tear lesser ships apart. Every human maneuvered with precision, intelligence, and courage. Explosions shook the ship, alarms screamed, and debris floated across corridors. Yet the crew worked as one. Engineers repaired damaged systems mid-battle. Soldiers returned fire with unshakable focus. Even the youngest crew members held their ground, their hearts steady, their eyes reflecting determination. Humanity had survived for millennia against overwhelming odds, and now they would survive against the galaxy's most powerful empire. Ilara moved to the command console, her voice cutting through the chaos. Focus all weapons on the lead command ships. Disable their engines. Strike at the heart. Today, humanity does not run. Today, humanity stands. The Resolute surged forward, targeting the command vessels with deadly precision. Alien officers cried out in panic as explosions tore through their formations. Their fleets faltered. Fear spread faster than fire. The Empire's confidence shattered under the relentless assault of humans who refused to yield. Rami's voice trembled as he monitored the damage reports. Captain, their command fleet. It's breaking apart. They're retreating! Ilara's lips curled into a fierce smile. Good. Humanity does not rely on fear to survive. We rely on courage, intelligence, and heart. Every time we stand, we remind the galaxy. Humans fight with everything they have, and we never give up. Even as the enemy faltered, Ilara knew the battle was not yet over. More fleets would come. The Empire would not accept defeat easily. But humans had already proven something vital, that courage and determination could overcome numbers, weapons, and fear itself. The SS Resolute glided through the battlefield, scarred but undefeated. Each shot fired, each maneuver executed, was a statement. Humanity would not bow, would not break, and would never be forgotten. And as the stars stretched endlessly around them, the crew felt a quiet, powerful truth resonate through every human heart aboard the ship. The fight was dangerous, exhausting and terrifying, but it was theirs. Humanity's stand was not just survival. It was defiance, hope, and the unyielding will to rise against the impossible. The Empire's fleets trembled. Commanders fled. Ships burned. And at the center of it all, a single human battleship held its ground, a symbol of unshakable resolve. Captain Ilara Trent looked at her crew, eyes glistening with emotion. We fight not just for ourselves, she said quietly, yet every word carried the weight of generations. We fight for humanity. We fight to remind the galaxy that we exist, we endure, and we will never, ever be defeated. And with that, the SS Resolute moved forward into the chaos once more, humanity standing tall, fearless, and unstoppable. Silence fell over the battlefield, broken only by the distant hum of debris drifting through space. The Empire's fleets, once proud and numerous, had scattered. Fires burned in the void where warships had fallen, and the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Humanity had stood, and the impossible had been achieved. Captain Ilara Trent stood on the bridge of the SS Resolute, her hands resting lightly on the railing. She gazed at the wreckage around them, the stars beyond shining like distant witnesses. Her crew moved quietly, exhausted but alive, their eyes reflecting relief, pride, and awe. They had faced the greatest power in the galaxy and had survived. More than that, they had prevailed. Lieutenant Rami Patel, still catching his breath, whispered, Captain, did we really do it? Are we safe? Ilara's lips curved into a gentle, tired smile. Yes, Rami, humanity survives. Humanity thrives. And the galaxy will remember that humans do not bow, do not break, and do not surrender. The Empire's capital system sent out messages in disbelief. Their fleets had been shattered, their commanders humiliated, and their pride irreparably broken. They had assumed that humans were insignificant, unworthy of attention. Now the galaxy had learned a truth that would echo for centuries. Humanity was unstoppable when pushed to the edge, courageous when faced with annihilation, and united in ways no empire could predict. As the Resolute drifted through the battlefield, Ilara thought of Earth, of home. She thought of generations of humans who had survived wars, famines, and oppression. All of that struggle had led to this moment. Humanity had always endured, always adapted, always fought when all seemed lost. Now their legacy stretched across the stars. The crew began repairing the ship, but their hearts carried more than fatigue. They carried hope. Humanity's victory was not only a military one. It was a declaration to the galaxy that humans were here to stay. They would not be pushed aside. They would not be forgotten. Ilara addressed her crew, her voice strong yet gentle. We have done more than survive today. We have shown the galaxy what it means to be human. Courage, unity, and hope can overcome any enemy, no matter how powerful. Remember this, every one of you. Remember it always. Tears glistened in some eyes. Others clenched their fists in quiet triumph. Every human aboard the Resolute understood something profound. They were no longer the hunted. They were no longer the weak. They were a force, a light in the darkness, a species that had risen against impossible odds and emerged victorious. From the wreckage, survivors from the Empire's fleets drifted in shock, witnessing the resolve of a species they had underestimated for centuries. Their fear was palpable. The legend of humanity had begun, and it would not fade. Alara took one last look at the stars stretching infinitely before them. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "We fight for survival, yes, but also for freedom, for hope, and for the right to exist. Humanity will endure. Humanity will rise. And the galaxy will never forget the day the Empire trembled in fear at the sight of a human battleship." The SS Resolute turned its course back toward the human systems, carrying not just a crew, but the spirit of an entire species. They were battered but unbroken, exhausted but determined. They were human, and humans had a way of surviving the impossible. Somewhere in the galaxy, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if acknowledging the courage and will of a species that refused to give up. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars. Humanity had risen, and in the vast silence of the cosmos a new dawn had begun. For humans, for hope, and for the galaxy itself. The legend would be told,